Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes at UFC 314 in Miami. It's like Khabib said, guys, you only get one prime, and whether or not he wins against Diego Lopes, you still got Ilya out there, and he will find himself in the same position Daniel Cormier found himself in when John Jones was taken out of competition. Granted, John Jones had, personal issues, and he was all over the place, whereas Ilya, he's still in the UFC. He ain't in trouble or nothing, so you gotta, mention that. We all know this. But Ilya took himself out of featherweight competition. He's now a lightweight. He's now chasing Makhachev, and not even Makhachev. He's chasing lightweight gold, whoever has it. It happens to be Makhachev right now, but if Dustin would have won, I'm pretty sure Ilya would have went up and tried to snatch it from Dustin too. Like, it doesn't matter who has the gold. It's about getting the gold, not who has it. But if Volk wins against Diego Lopes, which he could do, I'm not, here to say Diego smashes Volk or anything like that. Volkanovski could go out there and get his title back, but it's not the real title. It's a vacant title. It's the best with what you got, right? Like, if he's not there, what are we going to do? Just retire too? No, we're going to keep fighting, and that's what Volk is doing. Good for him. But you're always going to have that but, you know what I mean? And that's coming from fans. That's going to be coming from media. That's going to be the reality of it. Do you think, question for you, do you think Volkanovski will move up and try to chase Ilya? Could that be a possibility? Could he try to, if Ilya wins? If Ilya loses, it's tough, but, or does he try to go on a second run? And if he does, who do you think is there to beat Volkanovski right now, if not Ilya? I don't want to see him fight Max Holloway again. I'm good off that. How many times are we going to do that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool off of it. I know probably a lot of you want to see it, but I'm good. I think you got to give it to Movsar Evloev after Diego Lopes. You got to go Movsar, and then who wins that? Does Volk get past that? And if he does, right, let's just give Volk his flowers real quick. If he does, after losing the title to Ilya, come back, beats Diego Lopes, who's of that Ilya Topuria generation, right? He's the new generation. He's the new on the rise. Max Holloway's not. That's the old generation. Movsar, that's the new gen. Yair, been there, done that. Brian Ortega, been there, done that. Arnold Allen, okay, it's new, but he's ranked 7th, and he's, it's a far stretch from where Volk is at, and Mr. Arnold Allen is at. You've got Josh Emmett, who's a power hitting dude. He could really put someone's lights out, and we've seen Volk go to sleep now a couple of times. Once against Islam, once against Ilya. Maybe a third time against Mr. Josh Emmett. I don't know, but these are the fights you got to make. Keep him active, and again, just to finish that thought on giving the flowers to Volk, if he does do this and clean out again all these guys and shows that he is the best, maybe besides Ilya, but he is the best featherweight. I feel like you gotta crown him as champ, right? As all-time featherweight champ, because Aldo, when he lost, he kind of never really steered the ship back, like he had the vacant title fight against Frankie, he beat Frankie, and then Max Holloway took it from him, and then that was that, but Aldo didn't continue beating the next gen, everybody besides Conor, It wasn't everybody besides Conor. It was Conor, then it was Max, then it was Volk. Like, he got some losses after the Conor fight. Whereas Volk, so far he's only lost to Islam and Mr. Topuria. Now let's get serious. All of that I just said about Volk beating all those guys, the Movsars of the world, that sounds too good to be true. And if I have to make a pick, I'm going with Diego Lopes. I started this video off by saying only one prime. Diego's on the rise. Diego's been someone who's been watching Mr. Volkanovski for years, like he's been at the top of where he wants to be. So, of course, that's where his aim has been set, right? That's the target. Diego Lopes was never the target for Volkanovski until now. So it's just one of those things where, like, this fight will mean a lot to Ilya as well, Beating Diego Lopes, it gets the title back for Volk, sure, but it's just another name at the end of the day, right? Like, he's beaten the who's who. He's beaten Aldo. He's beating Max Holloway. Like, he has beaten the who's who of the featherweight division. Beating Diego's just another guy. So I always like to look at it like that, and I think that plays a part too. If I'm wrong, I won't be mad at it. You know what I mean? I won't be mad if Volkanovski wins. I'll be happy for him for sure. I think it will be an incredible story if Volkanovski wins, but I just feel like there's a lot to overcome. It wasn't close decision losses that he lost those last two fights in. It was Islam Makhachev getting the knockout, and it was also whatchamacallit, it was Ilya getting a knockout too. So that's tough. That's really, really tough. Also, I don't know about Diego Lopes too much. I've seen his fights, of course, but I don't know much else about him besides fighting. Whereas Volkanovski, he does content. He's doing interviews here, doing the cooking show. He's got a couple of endeavors outside of fighting. Diego, I don't know if he has anything else. I think he's on just the path of a fighter, the path that Volkanovski used to be on. And that's a credit to Volkanovski that he got to the point where he could branch out and do other things, you know what I mean? But only one prime, man. And I feel sad even saying it because I'm not like taking joy in saying this or nothing. I'm not a Volkanovski hater, but I think this is just the reality of things, and this is what we're looking at. So I want to know what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree. It really does not matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and of course leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.